There is no theory of evolution, just a list of animals Chuck Norris allows to live. The beginning, there was nothing. Then Chuck Norris roundhouse kicked nothing and told it to get a job. Chuck Norris can divide by 0. When the boogeyman goes to bed, he checks his closet for Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris counted to infinity twice. Chuck Norris can slam a revolving door. The leading causes of death in the USA are 1. Heart disease, 2. Chuck Norris, 3. Cancer. Chuck Norris can hear sign language. Chuck Norris can unscramble an egg. Chuck Norris can kill 2 stones with 1 bird. Chuck Norris makes onions cry. Chuck Norris doesn't wear a watch. He decides what time it is. When Chuck Norris enters a room, he doesn't turn the lights on. He turns the dark off. Chuck Norris can strangle you with a cordless phone. Chuck Norris can do a wheelie on a unicycle. Once a cobra bit Chuck Norris's leg. After 5 days of excruciating pain, the cobra died. When Chuck Norris does push-ups, he's not lifting himself up. He's pushing the earth down. Chuck Norris can light a fire by rubbing 2 ice cubes together. Chuck Norris doesn't do spelling checks. If he happens to misspell a word, Oxford will change the actual spelling. Chuck Norris can hear his own echo. Chuck Norris doesn't age, he levels up. The Great Wall of China was originally built to keep Chuck Norris out. It failed. Chuck Norris can pick oranges from an apple tree and make the best lemonade you've ever tasted. Chuck Norris can make a snowman out of rain. Chuck Norris can play the violin with a piano. Ghosts sit around the campfire and tell Chuck Norris stories. Chuck Norris knows Victoria's Secret. Chuck Norris can clap with 1 hand. If it looks like chicken, tastes like chicken, and feels like chicken, but Chuck Norris says it's beef, then it's beef. If you spell Chuck Norris wrong on Google, it doesn't say, "Did you mean Chuck Norris?" It simply replies, "Run while you still have the chance." Chuck Norris can delete the recycling bin. Chuck Norris can kill your imaginary friends. Chuck Norris once went to Mars. That's why there are no signs of life. When Chuck Norris plays Monopoly, it affects the world economy. Chuck Norris can build a snowman out of sand. Chuck Norris can turn coal into a diamond just by staring at it. Chuck Norris's tears cure cancer. Too bad he has never cried. Chuck Norris's shadow is scared of him. Chuck Norris doesn't have a computer. He just tells the internet to update. Bigfoot claims he saw Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris can make a slinky go upstairs. Chuck Norris can hit you so hard that he can actually alter your DNA. Chuck Norris can see ultraviolet light. Chuck Norris sleeps with a nightlight, not because Chuck Norris is afraid of the dark, but the dark is afraid of Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris once kicked a horse in the chin. Its descendants are now known as giraffes. Chuck Norris can breathe underwater. Chuck Norris can drown a fish. Chuck Norris can bake in a freezer. Chuck Norris knows the last digit of pi. The Bermuda Triangle used to be the Bermuda Square until Chuck Norris roundhouse kicked one of the corners off. Some magicians can walk on water. Chuck Norris can swim through land. Chuck Norris doesn't cheat death, he wins fair and square. Chuck Norris can go past the character limit. Chuck Norris can taste lies. Chuck Norris can tie his shoes with his feet. Chuck Norris can play fetch with himself. Chuck Norris doesn't breathe, he holds air hostage. Chuck Norris doesn't have good aim. His bullets just know better than to miss. Chuck Norris can split the atom with his bare hands. Chuck Norris can hear silence. Chuck Norris won a staring contest with his reflection. The only time Chuck Norris was ever wrong was when he thought he had made a mistake. Chuck Norris can cut through a hot knife with butter. The dinosaurs looked at Chuck Norris the wrong way once. You know what happened to them? Chuck Norris can talk about Fight Club. Death once had a near Chuck Norris experience. Chuck Norris can delete the internet. Chuck Norris can sneeze with his eyes open. Chuck Norris makes Happy Meals cry. Chuck Norris can draw a perfect circle with a ruler. Chuck Norris can hear a mime. When Chuck Norris writes, he makes paper bleed. Chuck Norris can watch the radio. Chuck Norris once got a paper cut from a digital book. Chuck Norris can unring a bell. Chuck Norris can sit at the corner of a round table. Chuck Norris can eat just 1 Lay's chip. Chuck Norris can dry his hair underwater. Chuck Norris can divide by 0 and get a finite number. Chuck Norris's calendar goes straight from March 31st to April 2nd because no one fools Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris once caught a cold just to see what it felt like. It didn't survive. Chuck Norris can have his cake and eat it too. Chuck Norris once roundhouse kicked a sales guy. Now we have buy one, get one free. The early bird might get the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese. Chuck Norris gets both. Chuck Norris can put out a fire using gasoline. Chuck Norris can parallel park a train. Chuck Norris's action figure has real moving parts and actions. Chuck Norris can turn lemonade into lemons. Chuck Norris can break water in half. Chuck Norris can see John Cena. Chuck Norris can start a fire by rubbing 2 ice cubes together. Chuck Norris doesn't have a middle name, he is too good for that. Chuck Norris can play the saxophone without the saxophone. Chuck Norris can find the end of a circle. Chuck Norris doesn't climb trees, he just pulls them down and walks on top of them. Chuck Norris's keyboard doesn't have a keytrol key because nothing controls Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris can dribble a bowling ball. Chuck Norris's roundhouse kick is so powerful, it can be seen from outer space by the naked eye. Some kids pee their name in the snow. Chuck Norris can pee his name into concrete.